Yes, YouTube, what are we saying? So you know I love giving back to you all, so I created another video talking about how to go from skinny fat to jacked. So first of all, what is skinny fat? That's someone who holds on a lot of body fat with not a lot of muscle. Skinny fat. And what is jacked? Someone who contains a lot of muscle and is quite lean. That's what I'd say jacked is, when you've got a lot of muscle and you're still quite lean. So how do you go from skinny fat, so not having a lot of muscle and having a lot of body fat, to someone with a lot of muscle and not a lot of body fat? So I'll split it down to 3 phases, right? We got the cut, we got the bulk, and then we got the, I would call it the body recomp, right? So first of all, if you are skinny fat, right, you don't know whether to cut or bulk, always cut first. And the reason why we do this, before I talk about this, it gives us more leeway for the bulk. The longer we can stay on the bulk, the more muscle we can build, the quicker we are to becoming jacked. So first of all, phase 1, what we want to do is most importantly, get down to 10 to 12% body fat. First of all, what is 10 to 12% body fat? So 10% body fat is my 8-pack with obliques. That is, you're lean, right? You're fucking shredded, right? 12% is 6-pack with obliques, right? You haven't got that last bottom bit of the abs, but you're still pretty lean. Nice beach body physique. Something similar to like Zac Efron on Baywatch, if you've seen that film. So how do we even get to 10 to 12% body fat? Right, what we want to do is find our maintenance on caloriecounter.net. So find your maintenance. Once you find your maintenance, we drop it to about 300 to 500 calorie deficit, right? And that should be fine. And then also as part of your deficit, make sure you get a gram of protein per pound of body weight. So if you're 150 pounds, 150 grams protein, that should be an average, that should be fine. Doesn't really matter if you get a little bit less or a little bit more, but that should be like a baseline, something that you can go off with. 10 to 12k steps per day. Again, you want to adjust over time, but I would start off in 10k. That should be fine. If you work a manual job, let's say you're like a labourer or something like that, being in a deficit will work in your favour because of how active you are. So if you do more than this, it should be fine. It's like, as long as you are at least hitting 10k, that should be all good. And then train 3 to 5 times per week. Obviously, if you want to build muscle, you've got to be in the gym and you've got to be consistent. Pretty fucking simple. You can either do something like a push-pull legs, upper lower, or push-pull legs rest, upper lower rest. That's one of my favourite splits that I like to follow. And then 20 to 30 minutes cardio post-workout, or you can do it in the morning, doesn't really matter. But I would do something called LISS cardio, low intensity, steady state cardio. What is this? Like an incline walk or a moderate pace and exercise bike, anywhere where you get 120 to 140 beats per minute, that's low intensity cardio. And that will put you in the fat burning zone where your body will use fat sources as energy instead of carbohydrates. The more carbohydrates you have as energy source, the better your weight sessions will be, because that's what your muscles use when you do weights. Progressive overload, so you're not going to build any muscle if you're not getting stronger. If you're going to the gym to do the same weight, yeah, but at least I'm showing up. No, you have to be training hard, you have to be training with good execution, and you have to be getting stronger over time. Otherwise you ain't building no muscle, and you can still build muscle on a deficit. Anyone says you can't is chatting shit, because either their form's bad, the nutrition's bad, or they're just not consistent enough. And then once you get down to a certain body weight, so let's say you start on your meal plan, you're 80 kilos, you get down to 75 kilos and your weight stalls. And then you ask yourself, oh, why is it on that? I'm in a deficit. Yes, you was in a deficit, but you can't be in a deficit forever, otherwise you would disintegrate. So that's where you either decrease the food or you increase the steps, right? And what this does, it puts you in your new deficit, and you repeat this process until you get to 10 to 12% body fat. Phase 2, which is the bulk now. So realistically, depending on how fat you are, you want to spend more time in this phase, because building muscle compared to getting rid of body fat or losing body fat is always going to take longer, depending on how fat you are, right? So what we want to do is phase 2 is don't just go straight into a surplus, because if you start eating loads of food again, you are going to accrue too much body fat in the process, because right now your body's going to be super sensitive to insulin. So when you eat loads of carbohydrates and you take the piss of it, your body's going to store some of those carbohydrates as fats to use on for later, right? So making sure that we go into a maintenance. In my opinion, if we do this right, we can spend as much time as we physically can in the bulk, meaning more muscles being built. We go into a maintenance phase first. By doing this, we increase it to about 150, 200 calories. That should be fine. And then what we're going to do is over time, increase the carbs. Carbs, realistically, should be the only thing that needs to be changing. Like if you're in a deficit and you want to help with hunger reasons, then yeah, you can increase more protein for reasons of staying full. Well, in my opinion, we want to be increasing the carbs over time. The more carbs we have, the better sessions we have, the easier it is for us to build muscle. And then obviously you want to reduce the steps back down to 8 to 10K. Again, if you do a manual job and you do more than this, it's fine, right? But we want to be decreasing the amount of cardio and steps that we was doing on the cut. And then 15 to 20 minutes cardio. I'm not saying to just not do it, right? You still need to do it for purposes of digestion and for heart health. However, we just don't have to do as much. And then what we're going to do is progressive overload still. You're going to find it easy to progressive overload on your bulk for the reason that you can have more food. The more food you have, the more energy you have, the easier it is for you to become stronger over time. And also body weight is going up. And then you want to get back up to 18 to 20% body fat. So first of all, what is 18 to 20% body fat? 18 to 20% body fat is around like you got a bit of a 4-pack or you've just got a flat stomach. That's when you know, okay, time to cut down. If you push past this, what you find is that your midsection will start enlarging and you'll start accruing a lot of body fat around the lower back area. And then obviously with the food, when should I increase it? Realistically, if your weight stalls, let's say you've been on the same calories and you've plateaued in your weight, which say you've been stuck on 70 kilos and it's been 2 weeks, then you increase the food. But if you're 70 kilos and it's been 2 weeks and you've gained 1.5 kilos, no need to change it, you're still in a surplus. So phase 3, the body recomp phase. So what we do now is go back into a cut. However, if you've done these 2 things right, the cut here isn't going to be as long. So realistically, we don't have to spend as much time and we want to get down to similar, if not the same body weight we once was when we first started. However, we are leaner and we have more muscle and we are so-called jacked, right? Leaner with muscle. This does take time. And in my opinion, the phase 1 is the hardest phase to get through because you just started out and you're not going to look as good. However, you get past phase 1, right? You are going to love your training and you are going to have way high likely chance of being consistent. So if you can get past phase 1, do phase 2, phase 3, you're going to be so-called jacked. Last but not least, if you need more help dropping off body fat and building muscle, comment below the word gains for my free cutting meal plan to get you started. And if you want to see more videos like this, feel free to again like, comment and subscribe. But if you got to the end of the video, thank you very much for watching and I shall see you lot in a bit.